Who's the team to beat in the NFC East?
Oh, do I get to start this?
You get to start.
Now that I'm across from two Cowboy doubters, I'll doubt those Dallas Cowboys.
We're haters.
Haters. My Dallas Cowboys are clearly and obviously the best team in the NFC East. In fact, I'm ready to go make the case that they are becoming the best team in the NFC, period. And my point is that I'm going to rank them it's empty, actually.
Okay, I thought you had to be. You saying that they're the best team in the NFC. You had to be drinking.
I'm full of Diet Mountain Dew, right?
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I have the Eagles still second in the division. I have the Redskins creeping up to third as they've won 3 straight. And I have the Giants that everybody loved for the first 2 weeks of the year bringing up the rear. And the reason I love my Dallas Cowboys is I was not sure they could beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody was raving about the Bengals going into this game, especially that dominating front seven of theirs. I thought it would be a lower scoring game that would go field goal Dallas. I hope that Dan Bailey would be healthy enough to kick that field goal. And my Cowboys crushed and dominated Cincinnati's front seven to the point that Geno Atkins did not register a stat yesterday. He got shut out of the stat sheet. He had zeros across the board, which means you don't register on this sheet. You're not on here. You didn't even have an assisted tackle because Zach Martin...
You only played because I watched the game.
Yeah, I know he played. I saw the number in there, but I didn't see him make a single play because my offensive line blew them regularly off the ball. And I was with Shannon. I thought they would be able to take Ezekiel Elliott away. And he goes 134 on 15 carries, including one right up the gut and right through Cincinnati's heart for 60 yards that made it 28-0 early in the third quarter. And they took my Cowboys a 28-0 lead into the fourth quarter. And as you said on Friday, most of these games stay pretty close. That was an NFL blowout to me. Right. And again, Andy Dalton heated up in the fourth quarter. Remember, my team's just coming of age. It had never been in that position before, and it's not sure how to get it home the way the Patriots are sure how to get home a 28-0 game. So they played a little prevent-ish sort of defense, and they gave up too many underneath completions, and they gave up 14 points in the fourth quarter. But my point is, Dak Prescott has changed the way this team plays football. He's inspiring the offense and the defense because he's so poised and so deadly consistent, 155 passes without an interception, and they are running away with plays per scoring drive. They're averaging 10 plays per scoring drive because he doesn't make any mistakes. Michael, you know how hard this is to go 10 plays down the field against any NFL defense, especially that one yesterday. And he had 3 long scoring drives before Zeke finally broke free for the long 60-yarder. So I'm seeing the offense start to inspire the defense. They did not win time of possession yesterday because they really didn't need to because they're up 28-0.
Right.
And yet, my defense gets quietly a little better week after week after week. They shut out Andy Dalton and A.J. Green through 3 quarters. That's pretty impressive. I'm not saying they're great, but they're getting good. And DeMarcus Lawrence did play. I didn't think he was going to be able to play yesterday, and he flashed a couple times. He can rush the passer. They started to rush Andy Dalton from all sides yesterday, and Morris Claiborne is playing like the guy who got drafted number 6 overall. He's becoming a Pro Bowl corner. I know it's time. I know this is his contract year, but he is playing at a supremely high level and made 2 or 3 big plays on A.J. Green yesterday. I am loving what I'm seeing. I don't think it's even close in the East, and I'm making a case for the NFC in general.
I kind of had a feeling this was going to go in this way. I think this. You know, when I was a kid growing up, there used to be this thing called the Dunkel ratings. You ever see that? You know,
I remember.
Remember the Dunkel ratings? Yeah. And people say, and every week we would evaluate teams. And I think what happens in the NFL, for most fans, is they evaluate. It's like when you play pool. The novice plays pool. He looks at the shot he's going to make, but he never really understands how to set the cue ball up for the next shot.
Wait, I think I just got called a novice, right?
No, I did not. No, I did not. I did not say that. I said that I think what I would only say is the projection of where you're going is it has to be in a 3-dimensional way. Where is this going? I think the Cowboys, I said it on the show on Friday, Scott Linehan has done a marvelous job of crafting this offense and of keeping the time of possession. I've made it very clear about that. I think their liability is their defense. I think that their liability, the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line had not protected Andy Dalton most of the season, so there really was a rush. They did a great job of creating negative plays, and when they create negative plays, it fits into their defensive scheme. My only point to you is I think that clearly between Philadelphia and Dallas, it's going to be a battle for the East. I don't consider the Giants nor the Redskins and their 3-game winning streak a threat. I think the Giants have coaching issues, starting with their head coach.
Really?
I think the Redskins have problems with their defense. It didn't show up.
What about the Giants head coach?
I mean, just look at the game last night. He's so busy looking at his play sheet. It looks like the Cheesecake Factory menu. He's got it covered his face. We're not even talking about the call he missed on the field when it was an incomplete pass. It was an incomplete pass. He throws he doesn't throw the challenge flag. I tweeted it out earlier. He challenged an 8-yard gain in the fourth quarter.
It was a bad idea.
Lost a timeout. Yeah. When you're in a close game, you can't challenge that.
Right.
You cannot challenge that. You need your timeout. He blows that timeout. Everybody said we have to keep Ben McAdoo as our head coach because we don't want to lose him for the offense. What's gotten worse? The offense in New York. The offense has gotten worse. You guys sat here and talked about Eli Manning. Their offense hasn't gotten any better. So I didn't mean to get off on the Giants subject, but I think that's a liability for them. I think their defense isn't as good as we hope. They put all that money in, and they haven't gotten the rewards. They can't get off the field on third down. The Giants' offense is the worst team on first down in the National Football League. They can't. They didn't give Eric Flowers any help last night. Eric Flowers had a confrontation with a newspaper reporter. I don't blame. He was upset. He's out there on an island. You've got to protect. If you're so busy covering your face and checking things off, you're not watching the game. You got to watch your head coach. Be a head coach. Be a head coach.
I think he's just a coordinator, and that's the problem.
Well, that's the Peter principle that goes into it. So they wanted to get somebody that could keep their offense intact, and now what's happened? Their offense has gotten worse. Back to the Cowboys. I think, in my pool analogy, I think when you look at them and they're going to have to beat Seattle, they're going to have to beat Green Bay. If they can play the style that they play, which to me is the most critical thing for the Cowboys, they got to play their style. They're not going to play your style and beat you. They're not going to play his style and beat you. They got to play their style. And if they play their style, they're a really good team. And I think Prescott's proven that no matter what happens, his poise under pressure is remarkable. And their offensive line proves, and I don't want to ever hear this again, that about we have to get great skill players because when you're great in the line, you can't get the receivers, no matter where they are, get open.
Because you can protect the quarterback.
You can protect the quarterback. So we got to get a receiver to get open. So all these teams draft receivers, they can't, unless you can count the 5 Mississippi, you're not getting the guy open. So
even Beasley can get open behind that line, right?
All those, Williams is getting open. Everybody gets open.
I'm kidding. Oh, because Cole Beasley is quick. He's like Steve Nash quick.
Beasley's really, he's a point guard. He's a point guard. So my point is, if you want to build a team, Indianapolis should hear this because this is where they violated all, even though they say they can't because of the contract. Yeah, which is the.
We'll discuss that.
We'll put that.
Yeah.
The offense and defensive lines are how you get to Super Bowls. That's how you get there. And I think the Cowboys have a Super Bowl offensive line. And I think that's why you can't discount them. You could never discount them, and I wouldn't. The floor is yours.
Can I make my case for the Eagles? They still have the number 2 total defense, 6th scoring defense, 3rd rush defense. Their offense is 3rd in scoring. So that's my case for them. But in the with the Washington team, Kirk Cousins really wanted to give that game away.
He tried.
But Joe Flacco says, no, I'm not going to let you. I want you to take it. So
now they changed coordinators back in Baltimore, and Mark Trestman gets fired after that. But this happened before. Cam Cameron got fired. They went to the Super Bowl. So they think this formula might actually work.
Yeah. The Giants, until Eli starts to play better, protect the football better, his offensive line can protect him better, and defensively, as you said, get off the field. But I'm going to say if, and I hate saying this, if the Cowboys stick with Dak Prescott, I will pick them to win this division. If they go back to Tony Romo, because I know what Jason Garrett's going to say. I know what Jerry Jones is going to say. We're going to open the playbook, but you're also going to open yourself up for more turnovers because Tony Romo will take risk that Dak Prescott, because they've instilled in Dak. See, the thing is, you've gotten to Dak Prescott, and you says, you must protect the football. Run it. It's 3rd and short. Dump it to Beasley, dump it to Witten or Williams, and we'll be fine, and we're going to keep our defense off the field. Tony Romo puts the ball in harm's way. You put the ball in harm's way with that defense, you're not going to win very many games.
I don't disagree, but I think the play calling is matched. I think the execution and the play calling has been sensational because what's happened is because you don't have a veteran quarterback who wants to go up there and change things and seize things, I think he's executing the offense. And as he's been quoted as saying, I'm going to find the open guy. And if he's got as much time as he has, he finds the open guy. I think that Prescott and the reflection of Linehan, the combined two things, should be showing Tony Romo, like, look, if I just run this offense, we can be fairly effective.
He's not born that way.
No, exactly.
I get that. I get that. And then if they turn this ball over and they put their defense in harm's way, again, what are they doing? They're not playing their style. And if they don't play their style, if Jerry Jones is truly the general manager of the team, which he is, he's got to say to himself, we got to play this style to win. This is who we are. This is how we are built. We're not good enough we don't have enough rushers on defense. Now, if they had pass rushers on defense, the tune would change. If they had the old Charles Haley and the great rushers of their time, I think the tune would change. But they don't have that team.
DeMarcus Lawrence is pretty good.
I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's what I call a game plan rusher. You go to the game and say, look, if we don't slide the protection over here to Clay Matthews, oh, by the way, maybe we should have done that last night in New York. Like, okay, that's Clay Matthews over there. That's Eric Flowers. We can't block him. Look, we're not leaving the stadium and Clay Matthews has 3 sacks. If Kenny Clark gets sacks, fine. But we got to block this guy. To me, that's where I think most teams failed. That's where Linehan's excelled.
And you saw the Denver Broncos, Skip. They wouldn't give Ty Sombrero the right tackle, and Vic Beasley ate his lunch.
He did.
You look at the Falcons on the other side, every chance they got, they chipped Von Miller. The wide receiver would chip Von Miller before they went to their pass protection.
Good job on him.
Exactly. So that's what you got to do. And that's what he's saying. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm not worried about DeMarcus. It's not like I'm going in, I got to go rip Liz and slide my protection left or right because I'm worried about him. There are certain guys, you must pay attention to where they are. I don't believe DeMarcus Lawrence is there yet, and I don't know if I can fully trust him yet.
Last quick point about my Cowboys. There's one other facet, if not world, to this Cowboy offense we have not seen exploited yet. Dak can run with the football. We saw it one time yesterday. He ran the read option down on the goal line.
That's my pet peeve in football, though, Skip. That's my pet peeve. This 8-man front nonsense that we hear on TV by everybody says, well, they're in an 8-man front. They're going to stop the run. When you have Dak Prescott, and you have a quarterback, because I learned this painfully with Al Davis. Al Davis wanted to be in an 8-man front because he was obsessed with the Denver Bronco boot, okay? You can be in an 8-man front all you want, but when the quarterback scrambles out of the pocket or he fakes the handoff like Dak did on the long run, you're not in an 8-man front, you're in a 6-man front because somebody's got to defend the quarterback, okay? And so Prescott, you can be in all the 8-man fronts you want. If you're going to play the boot and you're going to play the naked, you're not in an 8-man front, you're in a 6-man front. And I think that's the strength of having somebody behind the quarterback that can create, it really helps the run game. I agree completely with you. This nonsense, let's get an 8-man front, we'll stop the run, is just really, it's really just audience talk for the fans.
And again, I don't want to see Dak in harm's way too often, but every once in a while in a tight, close, hard-fought game, he's going to keep the football and he's going to gash you because he's a big, strong kid who can take some punishment.
Yes.
And he's
much more
smart
than
with it.
RG3 could take.